Usually we do the Furious 5 at 5 here, but we have a special guest on the line. Our friend, head coach Alvin Gentry, is with us here on the Nick Cattle Show on this Thursday. Coach, as always, thanks for joining us. Are you a golf guy?
I am a golf guy.
You're a golf guy? Did you watch Tiger today?
I think everyone watched Tiger today. I really do. It was impressive, actually. I mean, I know he's one under, but just to come back and to play that golf course and be able to shoot under par is an amazing thing, especially from the standpoint of him having to walk the whole thing.
Yeah, it's truly incredible. And I was talking about this the other day, Coach. How incredible of a story would it be if he does continue to play well and contend? And my goodness, what if he won this tourney? How incredible would that be to you? You're surrounded by great athletes. You've been involved with professional sports for a long time. Where would that story kind of stack up to you?
Oh, I think it would be as great as any story ever, just from the standpoint of where he was, a few months ago, and where, the fact that he's even playing in the tournament, I think is amazing. And if he can contend, the viewership, I think, would be off the chart, really.
Coach Alvin Gentry with us here on the Nick Cattle Show. There was another big story that I wanted to ask you about today in sports, and it's much more serious than enjoying Tiger Woods playing golf today at the Masters down in Augusta. The other big story today, Coach, is older comments from former head coach in the NFL, Mike Mularkey. And these comments have surfaced where he reveals that he knew he would be hired in 2016 as the head coach before minority candidates were interviewed. And I want to ask you, because Mularkey called the process a sham in the NFL, how have you felt as a minority head coach, how the NBA has done? Have they done a good enough job giving minorities opportunities?
Well, I think that's pretty obvious. If you just look at last year, what happened. I think there was 7 jobs open and 6 of them went to minority coaches. So, I think the NBA have really kind of, put their money where their mouth is. And, some of the things that have happened in the NFL, and I have no idea how the process works or anything, but I do know to have someone interview a minority candidate because they have to, it has no chance at working, I don't think. If somebody's going to interview just for the fact that they can check a box, then I think that's really disrespectful to some of the guys that have gone through the interview process with the credentials they've had, with the and knowing really that their chances of getting a job are slim to none. You look at some of the guys and the credentials that they've had, it's amazing that they hadn't been given an opportunity in the NFL.
Have you ever had an interview that you might feel like this is going through the motions, or that's never happened to you personally?
I don't think it's happened personally. I think that I do feel like in the NBA, if they're interviewing you because they think that you're a candidate that they would like to have for the job. I don't think it's done. I understand what the Rooney Rule tried to accomplish. I don't think it's done that at all. And it's pretty obvious if you look around the fact that, just last year there was one black NFL coach, so it hadn't done what it set out to do. So obviously there's some flaws in the rule and how they're trying to implement the whole thing.
Coach Alvin Gentry is with us. Just one more on this, Coach, before we move on to some other things. Of course, the next step, it's obvious, like you said. I mean, I agree with you. I think the NBA has done a tremendous job hiring black and brown coaches and head coaches. Obviously, a lot of people would say the next step is hiring more female coaches. Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think over the next few years we're going to see more of an influx of females being on staffs? We've started to see it, but do you think it'll continue to kind of explode over the next few years?
I sure hope so, because I think there's a lot of, qualified women. I mean, we have one on our staff. I think Lindsey Harden knows the game. I think if you ask any guy on our team, she has the respect of all of those guys, and she knows the game and played at a real high level herself. So, you would like to see a female have an opportunity to do that, because it would be an interesting situation. But I think there's so many qualified women out there that if given an opportunity, I think they could do well also.
Any concerns you might have about certain locker rooms and their reaction to a female head coach?
Oh, I think everybody gotten over that. Wasn't it the same for having an African American coach not that long ago?
Yep.
So, I just think that if given the situation, one thing I've learned about NBA guys over the last 34 years of being in the league, if you know what you're doing and you know how to teach and you know how to go through a practice and you're good in in-game situation, I don't think they really give well, I can't say that word, but I don't think they really care anything about it as long as they feel like you know what you're talking about.
Head coach Alvin Gentry is with us here on the Nick Cattle Show, Sports 1140 KHTK. All right, Coach, I got to ask you. I likely know your answer. Have you spoke with Monte McNair about your future?
No, I have not. It's not, and I'm sure that'll come, really soon, right after the season's over. But I have not spoke to anyone about my future.
Okay. Can we look at this team now? I want to ask you about Damian Jones, and I've talked to you about Damian in the past, and we talked about him, I think, last week about the inconsistent minutes that he had earlier and how he's been able to hold himself together and play well. As a basketball man and as somebody who's watched the game for a long time and coached the game for a long time, could Damian Jones play worthwhile minutes next to Domas?
Oh, I think he could. I think the one thing I think that D. Jones has shown is that when given consistent minutes, he's a pretty consistent player. And I think that in itself speaks for itself. If you take the road trip that we just came back from, I think he played at a real high level in all of those games. And, some people will say, well, the quality of competition. There's still NBA players that are playing at an NBA high level. So the fact that he was able to do that and play at a real consistent level of basketball and really played well, I think it speaks for itself. And I also think that, he and Domas, because of the versatility of Domas, really, there's not a whole lot of big guys that can't play with him, I don't think.
Interesting. Very interesting. Let's talk about Davion Mitchell, and Coach Gentry is with us. Just two more for you, Coach, and as always, we thank you for your time. What does Davion, we've had this conversation over the past couple of weeks, and I don't know if you care about sports radio or not, but there's been a lot of talk over the last couple of weeks about Davion and how he's played and if he could fit with De'Aaron Fox for the long term. And we spoke with Davion. We had him on the show last week. Tremendous young man, great personality. And Davion said he feels like he could be in the same backcourt as De'Aaron Fox. Let's say that's what the plan is. What does Davion need to work on, Coach, the most if he wants to be that perfect complement to Fox?
Well, I think both of them have the ability to handle a basketball. Obviously, both of them are playmakers, as Davion just showed. I mean, with the 17 assists that he had in the last game. So when you look at those situations right there, I think if he had to improve on one thing, obviously it's the consistency in his shot, which he's made a big jump anyway. And I think if anyone knows his work ethic, that's the least of my worries about him, because he's going to put in the time, and when you put in the time, good things happen. So I don't see any reason why they can't play in the backcourt together. Both of those guys are really good, solid defensive players, and I think they can get after the ball handlers and stuff, and I think they can also guard up. They can guard much bigger guys. We had De'Aaron Fox guarding, Brandon Ingram a lot when we played those guys, when he was playing and healthy and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't see any reason why those guys can't exist in the same backcourt.
I think both of us are well aware that this could be the last time we chop it up on this show. Unless you want to come in as a co-host and hang out with me a few days, Coach, we'd have a good time. If this is our last time chopping it up and having a conversation, you've spoken about the 16 years of non-playoff basketball here in SAC, Coach. And if you could, looking at this team, and if you're talking to the fan base, which you are right now, what kind of words of encouragement would you give to the fans that this team is on the right path and you believe they're going in the right direction?
Well, I do. You have to be good, but you also have to be lucky. It's unfortunate for us that, Fox had the injury that he had at that time. Domas had the injury at the time he had it. I think there was good basketball being played. I just know that this fan base, I've been around the league a long time. I know that there's a dedication here that you don't see anywhere else. And when you look at the overall franchise here, and you look at the in-game entertainment that is provided, you look at the cheer, the dancers, everything about this thing is just set to explode. And I just think that Monty and Wes, they're going to do a great job, regardless of what the situation is. I think they've got a good handle on what needs to be done here, and I think they'll do it. And I think this thing is headed in the right direction, and it's not a long way away. I think it's very short term before there's going to be a lot of success here. I truly believe that.
Coach, I've enjoyed every single conversation I've had with you. I've appreciated the way that you've handled things over the last, several weeks, which have obviously been challenging. As you mentioned, the injuries and everything not helping matters. We've enjoyed your company, and, if it continues, great. If not, let's still do this again at some time down the road, because I appreciate you, and I love your honesty, and good luck, good health, and hopefully we catch up soon.
Hey, we'll do that. You get bored down there and you want me to stop in, hey, give me a call.
Okay? All right. We got Don't threaten me with a good time, Coach. We'll do that. We'll do that. All right. All right, Coach Gentry. Thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Yeah, right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. There goes Coach Alvin Gentry with us.